The Ed Sullivan Show was one of the classic late-night shows of all time. It was a show that helped introduce people to many entertainers, especially singers. Many of the great singers who we still listen to today were able to get their big break on The Ed Sullivan Show. Yet even though Ed allowed these singers on his show, there were quite a few whom he couldn't stand, and he made it obvious. Facts Verse presents Ed Sullivan couldn't stand this singer, he made it obvious. Elvis Presley. Ed Sullivan had a notorious clash with the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, during Elvis's appearance on the show. The tension between the two stemmed from a clash of cultures and values. Ed was a conservative figure who aimed to present a wholesome image on his show, appealing to a broad family audience. Elvis, on the other hand, was a groundbreaking artist whose provocative dance moves and raw musical style were seen as rebellious and controversial at the time. Sullivan was initially hesitant to feature Elvis on his show due to concerns about the suggestive nature of Elvis's performances and the potential backlash from conservative viewers. However, recognizing Elvis's immense popularity and the appeal he had for the youth, Sullivan eventually relented. Their interactions during the show were reportedly strained. Sullivan, known for his reserved demeanor, found it difficult to catch up with Elvis's more bubbly personality and even felt a bit uncomfortable and put off by it. Elvis, accustomed to a more relaxed and unrestrained atmosphere during his performances, may have felt constrained by the show's strict production guidelines and limited movement on stage. Despite these differences, the appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show were crucial in propelling Elvis Presley's career to a national stage. Buddy Holly. Ed Sullivan had a strained relationship with Buddy Holly, a talented and influential rock and roll artist of the late 50s whose life and career were both cut short. Their discord primarily revolved around Ed Sullivan not wanting Buddy Holly and the Crickets to perform their song Oh Boy. Furthermore, it seemed the group wasn't really excited to perform on the show, and this angered Ed Sullivan a lot. Buddy Holly was known for his innovative sound, blending rockabilly with country and rhythm and blues, which was fresh and revolutionary for the time. However, Sullivan was more accustomed to traditional showbiz acts and often had a particular vision for how he wanted performers to present themselves on his show. Additionally, Holly, being an emerging artist, sought more creative control and artistic freedom, which clashed with Sullivan's tendency to exert control over the performances that appeared on his show. Sullivan was known to impose strict rules on artists, dictating song choices, choreography, and attire, which conflicted with Holly's artistic vision and authenticity. Their differences culminated in an uncomfortable relationship during Holly's appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show, creating a somewhat tense atmosphere behind the scenes. Despite the strained relationship, Buddy Holly's performances on the show were undeniably important for his career, helping to introduce his music to a broader audience and solidify his place in rock and roll history. To this day, his appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show is one of the only recordings we have of him. The Doors. Ed Sullivan's strained relationship with The Doors and their enigmatic frontman, Jim Morrison, is a well-known chapter in rock and roll history. The clash between the conservative television host and the rebellious rock band was emblematic of the generation gap and cultural shifts of the 60s. The Doors were pioneers of the psychedelic rock movement, with Jim Morrison as a charismatic, unpredictable, and often controversial frontman. Ed, a symbol of traditional values and family-friendly entertainment, found it difficult to embrace the provocative nature of the Doors' music and Morrison's onstage persona. When the Doors were booked to perform on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1967, Sullivan requested that they alter the lyrics of their song, Light My Fire, to be more socially acceptable. Specifically, he didn't like them using the word higher, which he felt implied getting high on drugs. The band agreed during rehearsal, but when they performed live, Jim Morrison defiantly sang the original lyrics, resulting in the band being banned from the show. Sullivan was infuriated by Morrison's rebellion and the public embarrassment it caused. The incident marked the end of any possibility of a harmonious relationship between the Doors and Sullivan. The Doors' countercultural stance and Morrison's unapologetic defiance were at odds with Sullivan's desire for control and adherence to mainstream norms. Ultimately, this clash contributed to the Doors' image as countercultural icons. and it spotlighted the growing divide between the establishment, represented by Sullivan, and the emerging youth-driven counterculture of the 1960s. Despite the friction, the Doors' appearance on Sullivan Show became a significant moment in rock history, reflecting the changing dynamics of society and entertainment. Bo Diddley. Ed Sullivan's relationship with Bo Diddley, a pioneering figure in the early days of rock and roll, was marked by tension and disagreement, showcasing the clash between artistic expression and traditional expectations. Bo, known for his innovative rhythms and influential guitar work, was a boundary-breaking artist, incorporating blues, rhythm and blues, and rock into a unique and electrifying style. When he was booked to appear on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1955, he was at the forefront of a musical movement that was challenging the established norms of the time. Sullivan wanted Bo Diddley to perform a song by Tennessee Ford. Bo Diddley, however, was determined to stay true to his musical identity and refused to conform to Sullivan's demands. He insisted on performing his signature hit, Bo Diddley, maintaining his artistic integrity and the integrity of the burgeoning rock and roll movement. This greatly upset Ed, who said Bo Diddley was the first, quote, black boy who ever double-crossed him. This greatly offended Bo Diddley, and he never wanted to perform on the show again. Bob Dylan. Ed Sullivan's relationship with Bob Dylan was complex, marked by a clash of ideologies and a fundamental difference in artistic expression. Dylan, known for his poignant lyrics and thought-provoking music, was a symbol of the counterculture movement and a new wave of folk and rock artists emerging in the 60s. In the mid-60s, at the height of Dylan's popularity and influence, he was invited to perform on The Ed Sullivan Show. But Sullivan, once again, was representing a more traditional and conservative entertainment industry. Dylan was known for using his music to voice social and political concerns, challenging the status quo and advocating for change. During Dylan's rehearsals for The Ed Sullivan Show, he ultimately decided to perform his politically charged song, John Birch Paranoid Blues, which satirized the political climate of the time and was deemed too controversial for mainstream television. Oddly enough, this song, which poked fun of anyone scared of communism, didn't seem to upset Ed Sullivan. However, the producer wanted Bob Dylan to perform a different song. He refused and canceled his performance, which forever severed Ed Sullivan's relationship with him. Sam Cooke. Ed Sullivan's relationship with legendary soul and R&B singer Sam Cooke got off on the right foot but didn't end up on the right path. Sam was performing his song live on the show and had spent a long time rehearsing. Unfortunately, filming had gone on overtime, so they had to put an end to it. Sam's performance was cut short, and naturally, this greatly upset him. He never appeared on the show again, and the two men never spoke again. Ed didn't feel that it was his fault and felt that Sam Cooke should not have been upset. Nevertheless, Ed publicly apologized for the incident. The recording of Sam on The Ed Sullivan Show is one of the few recordings on video of the singer. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you remember seeing any of these bands on The Ed Sullivan Show? Let us know in the comments section below.